Hey, Wimbo World Entertainment, and you can see the headline that's sitting there already, that Strange New Worlds tried to bring back William Shatner. How were they going to do it? The image is a bit of a giveaway, because this was their idea. There's something really wrong with everyone that comes involved with Star Trek and wants to try and bring Kirk back and stuff like this. This one goddamn episode is all they ever want to focus on and try and do again. And it's just like, wow, you really do have no ideas of your own. You really cannot come up with something brand new, can you? It's ridiculous. We're going to have a look at this because they don't actually specify why this never happened. Pretty sure we all know why. Pretty sure William Shatner looked at it and said, I have no interest in doing this. But we'll have a look at it. But just before we do, if you don't mind, and especially if you're new to the channel, number one, welcome. Hi, how are you? Hit the sub button, hit the like button, hit the bell button, hit the share button, hit the hype button, hit all the buttons. They sparkle when you do. They like it. It's like tiddling them. You tiddle, tiddle, tiddle. They really like it. Go on, do it. You know you want to. Let's try and get the channel growing. We're on the run now to try and get to 5,000 subs. We're almost at 4,000, so thank you very much to everyone who has hit the sub button and who is checking out these videos, but we're really trying to get this channel to grow now, so let's dive into this, shall we? So, with that, let's have a look at what their idea was. So, Star Trek Strange New Worlds is widely regarded as the best modern Trek series. No, it's not the best, it's probably just the least offensive, for the most part. Over the course of 3 seasons thus far, the show has delved into the backstories of characters we'd eventually come to know in the original series, all while hopping between genres in ways no other Trek series has dared to try, for very good reason, because it was a disaster when you did it. These experiments haven't always landed with fans, but you'd got to at least appreciate the series' bold approach to storytelling. No, you don't, because it's idiotic. If you do it once, particularly in the first season, and you see it didn't work and it didn't land, you don't double down and keep trying to do that stupid shit. And the problem is, they kept trying to do that stupid shit. Especially when we got to season 3. It was just like let's just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. But as the show heads into its 4th season and its already filmed 5th and final season, co-showrunner Akiva Goldsman is opening up about one of his biggest regrets from the run. In a conversation with Polygon, Goldsman revealed that the creative team had legitimate plans to bring William Shatner back to the franchise. Now here is how they were going to try and do this. The idea is centered on a version of Kirk who chose to stay behind in Depression-era New York with Edith Killer, the soup kitchen operator played by Joan Collins, that Kirk famously fell in love with in the classic series episode The City on the Edge of Forever. It's a compelling what-if scenario, and according to Goldsman, they actually pursued the idea seriously. They tried to make it work every single season and even developed multiple scripts around the idea, but the episode never came together in the end. The question I'd ask is, why? If you've tried it through every single season you've done, you've had multiple scripts, you really went seriously after this idea, why didn't you get it done? What was the sticking point? Was it possibly that people were going, you really just want to go back to the edge of the city on the edge of forever again? Because they already pushed the idea for that crap in Discovery, and that's how they ended up sending Georgiou, whatever the hell she was called, back in time from the 32nd century. It was ridiculous. So the series now confirmed to be wrapping up after 5 seasons. The showrunners have been reflecting on everything they've built. What Alex Kurtzman said, wait till you hear this for just a nonsensical answer he put in. I think if you get to the end and there's nothing left for you to want to do, then that's more of a disappointment. I'm proud of every episode we've done, but I feel like the best dinners you come to don't leave you feeling stuffed, they leave you wanting more. What the hell is he talking about? Like, what? No, we were stuffed from your first bullshit serving of modern Trek from, as I said, the first serving. We didn't want any more, but you kept shoveling the shit onto the plate in front of us. I wonder who he stole that quote off of, because you know he didn't come up with it. This finishes saying, we still don't know much about what's actually going to happen in seasons 4 and 5, but it is a pretty safe bet that the final episodes will focus on Christopher Pike passing the torch to Captain Kirk. Pike has always been the emotional heart of the show, but Paul Wesley's Kirk has been getting increasingly more screen time with characters that we know from the start of the original series. These last 2 seasons will almost certainly keep pushing these relationships forward as the timeline keeps closer to where the original show begins. There's a massive issue with what they've just written there. And the rest of it just talks about Paramount not greenlighting anything new with modern day Trek on Paramount Plus and stuff. They've just said, well, it's no doubt going to be a passing off the torch from Pike to Kirk. No, Pike doesn't pass the torch to Kirk. Pike gets horribly disfigured and paralysed. He's almost dead. That is what happens to Pike. That is Pike's fate. So the idea that this article is writing in, oh, we're probably going to see Pike pass the torch to Kirk. It's like, you clearly have not watched original Star Trek, and you even seem to indicate that you haven't even watched Strange New Worlds at all. Seeing as the very start of this show and season 1, episode 1, was Pike knowing what his fate was going to be and having to forget about what's going to happen. That has been what is going to happen throughout this whole thing. So there was no, well, it's going to be a passing of the torch. No, it's not going to be a passing of the torch. And half the crew that Kirk is interacting right now with from the original series, they shouldn't be, because they weren't even on the Enterprise in the beginning of the original series. So it's kind of this whirlwind of they don't know what they're doing. But the idea now that they wanted seriously to bring back William Shatner to do this, well, what if he stayed and fell in love with Edith and didn't return, neglecting the fact that in doing that you would have changed all of history. That was the whole point of him being there and having to let her go. He has to let her die. That was the whole thing. He wanted to save her in the end, but he had to let her die. Didn't want to, and he did go and almost try and save her, but it was Bones that stops him, and she gets hit by the car. That, like, what is it with this episode that they keep wanting to go back to? It's like, leave it alone. You cannot improve on that story. Now, here's the problem as well. They wanted to go and do a, well, what if he stayed episode with William Shatner. There's no guarantee that you'd have gotten Joan Collins back either. And she could have probably said, fuck off, I'm way too old to do this shit. No. And that's probably why it hasn't happened, because she probably said no, and Bill Shatner probably said, I'm not coming back for you. Get lost. The other issue is they've already done a what if scenario in season 1. Yeah, when they remade Balance of Terror as the final episode of season 1, where what if Pike doesn't actually become injured and he actually avoids and survives the accident and remained in command of the Enterprise. And the way they showed you that was to remake, bastardize, and absolutely ruin the classic episode of the Balance of Terror. So they've already bastardized 1, Could you imagine if they got their hands on this to bastardize that episode of The City on the Edge of Tomorrow? Thank God it didn't happen. And thank God Bill Shatner had the common sense clearly to say, yeah, I have no interest in coming back with you guys. But what do you guys think? Do you think that really is just they fucking ran out of every idea and they just want to rehash old crap? Did you see their remake of Balance of Terror? And if you did, what did you think of how they handled that? Let me know what your whole thoughts are on all of this. And then, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I shall catch you all in the next one.